I came here from Miami, Florida, and I came with big ambitions, big goals, and I was ready to go. In my mind, my major at the time was information technology. So I came in thinking that, I would come in, knock out 4 years, get a great job, making a lot of money so I could take care of my family. The story changed after my second semester. So I came here second semester, and it was just tough. At the time, I was working up to 30, 35 hours a week as a freshman. I was living in my own apartment, which meant my own bills. I was paying, a ton of bills, working a ton of hours to make sure that I can maintain. It was difficult. My grades started to drop and fell into a depression. At the time, I had no idea it was depression. Growing up in an African-American household, more specifically a Jamaican household. We got any Jamaicans in here? Oh, big up, big up. So raised in a Jamaican household, we never talked about mental health. We never talked about depression, anxiety. What do we do when we feel like we can't keep pushing and keep going on? And so I felt like I was alone. I felt like I had to figure this out on my own. Long story short, I was talking to a really good friend of mine. We were on the phone and she asked me a question. Hey, where have you been? Like, I haven't seen you on campus as much. You haven't been going to church. Everything all right? I was like, yeah, I'm just busy. Just work, a lot of work going on, and I'm trying to keep up with my school work and my hours at the job. Although I knew I was lying, I wasn't telling the full truth. But she kept pressing and kept asking me, are you good? I know you, bro. Like, you don't just miss class and miss church. That's not who you are. And I told her, I said, to be honest, I'm not doing well. I haven't been sleeping at night. I've been losing weight because I haven't been eating. All the things that I normally love doing, like going to the gym, socializing with people, going out to different events and having fun, like I wasn't doing those things. And immediately she said, it sounds like you're depressed. I was like, nah, people like me don't get depressed. I can't be depressed. I'm an optimistic guy. I love people. I love being around people. It's because I didn't understand that it was an illness, a mental illness. And so after we had that conversation, one of the things that she mentioned was that if you are struggling with depression, they do have resources on campus. And you should probably see a counselor if that's what it is. We got off the phone. I didn't listen to what she was really saying too much. And maybe 2 weeks after, I got into a desperate situation. And I was like, I just want to feel better. I just want to get back to the old me. I don't know what to do. So I said, let's look up these counseling and psychological services, CAPS, right? While here at the university, and I Googled, I went on UWF, I checked them out, checked out the hours. And I promise you, I walked into the counseling and psychological service. I walked into the office, and I'm looking around like, dang, I hope nobody sees me going in here. Like, oh, man, I hope I don't see nobody that I know. I'm just looking around, just scared. Why? Because of the stigma. Walked into the front desk, and I'm talking to the recipient, and I'm like, I think I gotta, she's like, oh, do you need to set up an appointment? I'm like, yeah, that right there. Yeah, can you help me do that? And so luckily she was very friendly, and she helped me out. I set up the appointment, and not too long after, I was talking to a psychiatrist. The conversation didn't go too long before she said, this is major depressive disorder. I was put on medication for some time. I went into therapy for some time, and it started to go downhill for me. It led to my medical withdrawal. I went back home for about 2.5 months. And mind you, nobody knew what was going on. Abe just disappeared off the surface. I probably had 2 friends that really knew what was going on. 2 friends that I felt like I could really trust. And I just left with the intention of not coming back. Went home for about 2.5 months. And being in a Jamaican household, I had my support system, but I wasn't really getting the support that I felt like I needed, right? Because my family doesn't know mental illness. What do you do if I say I'm struggling with depression? A lot of the things that kept me back from seeking help as soon as I could have or should have was a stigma. There are stigmas in the black community, which is why we don't seek help as often as we should, when we should. Depression does not discriminate. Depression doesn't care who you are, where you are, what your goals are, what you're doing. Depression does not discriminate. Anyone is liable. I just saw a post by a young thug about 3 days ago on Twitter talking about how he's struggling with depression. Somebody can look at him and say, wow, he's successful. He has all the money, all the cars, anything that he could really want that's material, right? How could he be depressed? Depression doesn't discriminate. I was reading a study, and the study said suicide is the third leading cause of death among young black males ages 10 to 24. How could you get to a point to where you're so low where you consider suicide? And to be completely honest, I have my own story of contemplating suicide. Somebody like me. And for those of you who know me, know I'm a happy guy. I love smiling. I love engaging with people. I love motivating as much as I can and inspiring. But somebody like me contemplating suicide. The first stigma is that with any adversity, especially depression and or anxiety, in the black community, we believe that we must embrace the lone wolf mentality. That we must go through it and get through it on our own, by ourselves. So in order for us to work on this stigma, it has to be addressed, because then comes awareness. And so if you're aware that there are resources, there are individuals who specialize in what we're struggling with, there's no need to want to do it by ourselves. I'll tell you a quick story. I went to the grocery store with my girlfriend a couple weeks ago, right? And went into the grocery store, and we got about, I want to say 10, 15 grocery bags. And as we got to the house to pull them out, I went for all the grocery bags. I got about all 10, 15 in my hand. And she's like, can I help you? Like, I can help you out and get the door. I'm like, nah, I got this. I'm a man. I got this. I don't need no help, right? And it starts with that. It starts with, why can't I ask for help? Why am I trying to suffer and go through all that pain, depression, anxiety by myself when there are resources, when I can actually get help? So that's one of the stigmas, that we have to embrace the lone wolf mentality. We got a lot of sisters in here who are independent, and I feel you. I feel you. You don't need a man, right? You can do bad all by yourself. But the reality is you can do much better with a partner. You can do much greater with help, with resources. And that's not just with depression, but in everything in our lives. We all need help. And it's once you address it and become aware of the fact that the help is only going to help you and not hurt you, then you can get to that next level. Self-medicate. It goes right along with the lone wolf mentality and doing it all by ourselves. I remember when I was struggling with depression and I would stay in my room all day, every day. I had a job. I had classes to go to. But I said, I don't feel like going anywhere. I don't feel like doing anything. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to that point, but I was literally in my bedroom. It was broad daylight outside, and I have the blinds closed. Just me in there with my thoughts, negative thoughts going uncontrollably. Right next to my bedside, a bottle of rum, Jamaican Appleton rum. So you know it's that hard stuff. About 70% proof, right? And I'm just sitting there just going at it. Just going at it, man. Hopefully this will make me feel better. Why? Growing up, that's all I saw. Self-medicate. When in reality, we can get the resources like therapy, like talk therapy. Toya mentioned that I was on antidepressants, and those did help for some time for me. And so there are these things that we can do instead of trying to figure it out and do it all by ourselves. And it's the awareness of it. I was at a point where I was going to parties and I'm throwing it back. throwing it back. And I'm like, yo, the way I was drinking, I shouldn't be able to stand up. Nobody really knew what I was going through in my mind. It was just like, oh, he turned up. This man turned. But in reality, I was trying to fight this feeling of, yo, why do I feel like this? Maybe if I drink enough, this feeling will go away. Right? Self-medicate. And I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with drinking. I mean, it's not wrong with drinking. But when you get to a point where you're drinking to mask the pain, and you're no longer drinking responsibly, then that's a problem. That's something that needs to be addressed. And at that time, that's something that I was doing. Self-medicate. Another stigma is that when it comes to depression, mental illness, mental health, anxiety, how many of us go to church? How many of us been to one of those black churches like, yes, hallelujah, glory? One of them churches. To be completely honest, we don't believe in therapy. Finish the sentence. What happens in this house? How backwards is that? In the black community, when we go to church, that's what it is. Like, really, that's what it is. When it comes to your mental health, emotional health, relationships, whatever you're going through, just pray about it. But what about the verse in the Bible that says prayer without works is dead? So what's the work when it comes to your mental health? What is the work? The work is going to therapy, taking your butt to therapy. The work is doing the things that are necessary for your mental health. The work is journaling if you have to, getting up and exercising. The work is talking about it, developing a support system, a support group that'll help you get through what you're going through. That's the work. So I can pray all day long. I can pray from here until God comes. And God gonna be like, but yo, I gave you Dr. Wins. I gave you Dr. Glenn, some of our licensed mental health counselors in here. I gave you her. I gave you this friend to talk to. And you just sat there praying. You thought you was good. The works is we have to figure out what are the necessary things that we need to do to get ourselves to that next level. So what did I do? Took my butt to therapy. Went on Google. Okay, what do you do if you have depression? I had to educate myself. I wasn't raised to know, like, okay, if you feel anxious, if you feel depressed, if you're not doing the things that you normally love doing, then this is what you do. So I went to educate myself. Okay, they said you should exercise. Boom, got that. Started forcing myself out the bed to go exercise. Oh, you should start journaling. Boom, got that. Started writing down what I'm grateful for every single day. I promise you it was annoying. I promise you I ain't want to do it. But I'm like, yo, if I do this long enough, I won't be here. I won't be in this situation if I do this long enough. They said, find a support system. I said, boom, there's Active Minds on campus. Let me join. Right? And I did the research. I educated myself, and I did the work that was necessary along with praying. I didn't stop praying. I believe in God. I was raised in the church. I do that all day, every day. Every morning I'm praying. But then God is saying, yo, you got to do some work. You got to get the work done. Resilience. At the point where I was at my lowest, I realized that I was the strongest that I could ever be. I literally believe that there is nothing that will stop me from getting to where I need to go. Not depression, not anxiety, not a death in the family or from a friend, nothing. There's nothing in life that will stop me from getting to where I need to go. Resilience. And what taught me that? Being at my lowest point. When is a candle most effective? In the dark or in a lit room? When do you see the stars? In the daylight or at nighttime? In your darkest moments in your life, that's when you shine bright. That's when something comes out of you that, like, you didn't even know existed. I didn't know, like, I can bounce back from any adversity in my life. I literally thought depression was going to take me out. And it got to a point where I was at my lowest and I was like, yo, what you really gonna do? Are you really about that life? And that's when resilience came. So resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity. And we all have that ability. Everyone in here has that ability. But it's about, are you willing to tap into it when you need to?